Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf It, Daf shiur on Sekas Yevamos, number Daf Mem Ches, number 48. We have a wonderful shiur for you today. Back to schedule a little bit after Yom Tovim of Pesach, over the Yom Tovim of cleaning before Pesach, and then the Yom Tov of Pesach, the two Sederim, or one Seder if you live in Eretz Yisrael. And then 2 days of Yom Tov Acharon, even if you live in Eretz Yisrael, it's a little crazy. If you have a family, your own house, cleaning up, cleaning up, having these meals. I know people think I'm crazy when I tell them that I personally don't enjoy Yom Tov so much. Is that like heresy to say that? I don't know. Shabbos, Yom Tov are not my favorite days. I'll tell you, I just when you can't do basic things, malacha, when you can't do work which are hard to do, hard to not do. It's very difficult. It makes your life very difficult, especially today. You know, you can't shower. I mentioned yesterday. 2 days you don't have to begin with being able to shower. It's just a lot. It's from malacha. I woke up from a nap on the second day of Yom Tov. It was like 3 o'clock. And I think Mincha was at 6:30. And I'm like, oh gosh, what the heck am I gonna do for 3.5 hours? I had Mishpacha magazine, a double edition for Pesach. I find the Mishpacha magazine, there's maybe one or two articles that speak to me, even on the Pesach, the mega edition. Sometimes there's no articles that speak to me. I am Haredi, and these things should speak to me, but a lot of the articles don't speak to me. I know they had one about what's his name, Goodman, the basketball player, that spoke to me. I read one about Rav Gershon Edelstein also. I guess he's the Gadol Ador now. He became the Gadol Ador because Rav Chaim passed away. Then I read a little bit of, I didn't know who he was, to find out a little bit. The Gadol Ador, the leader of our generation. What's he like? If you have not read the article, I don't know. It's an okay article. I mean, kind of boring. I love how they spin it, and they say, like, even the cover of Mishpacha magazine, of course, it was graced by Rav Gershon Edelstein. It said something like the keen insight and the silent leadership of the Gadol Ador, or something like that. He's a very quiet person, apparently. Doesn't really speak too much, and apparently answers. He's known to answer questions specifically about chinuch. He's very good with that, about chinuch. I don't like how magazines give their own opinions on the front cover already. Let me hear about him. Let me find out about him. Let me decide myself if I like him or think he's worthy of being a Gadol Ador. You think I'm crazy to say these things, but the truth is that the seventh day of Pesach was Kriyas Yamsuf, right? Now, if you look on the map where exactly Klal Yisrael crossed the Red or the Dead Sea, not the Dead Sea, the Red Sea, the Reed Sea, the Red Sea, they most probably crossed the Suez Canal. That's probably where they crossed. They didn't cross lower down. They didn't cross the Horn of Africa into Yemen. I don't think that's where they crossed. They crossed the Suez Canal from Egypt to Israel. That area, the Suez Canal. Suez, so is the canal. If you want to have chayras, you have to break from so is the quote unquote status, whatever, the accepted notion in today's world. If you want to have Kriyas Yamsuf, if you want true freedom, you have to break away from so is. No. Just because it is like that doesn't mean it's the right way, doesn't mean it's the correct way. You have to break away from that. The status quo, if you want to make real change, you have to believe that the past is not necessarily the truth. Because that part of the truth, it could be the truth sometimes, but sometimes it's not. And it's up to us to figure out, and to change the world, you have to figure out what exactly has problematic. And I actually read an interesting thing, and they said in the Mishpacha magazine, I did actually a video on the life of Aaron Kotler. If you want, you can check it out. They had I read part of the article they had about Slobodka Yeshiva in its early formation. Ron Cutler did study there. It's actually hard for him to get there, but he did make it to the Slobodka Yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva there was the Alder of Slobodka, Nosson Tzvi Finkel, not the famous one, the Mir, a different one. And he was actually, his son was Relezer Yudah Finkel, who started the Mir Yerushalayim. He was related to Nosson Tzvi Finkel, not directly related. And they said that while Ron Cutler was there, I didn't know this, they censored the letters. The Alder of Slobodka wouldn't give him. He got mailed letters from his sister, Malka Cutler, who apparently was off the derech. She was doing other things. She was not Haredi. So he censored, like, he removed the letters. He didn't even give him the letters. Ron Cutler found out about this. He almost left the yeshiva. He was very angry, upset about this. I don't know. I don't like censoring. I don't like when people don't give people free choice. If God, the highest being in the world, the one who created the world, who runs the whole world, can give everyone free choice, can give you free will, who are we to take away someone else's free will? Who are we? Even if you're the greatest person in the world, the greatest rabbi, how could you take away someone's free will? God gave them free will. That's the problem I have with that. All right, let's go on before I start venting all my issues. And because it was a difficult 2 days of Yom Tov, so I used to have this anger pent up in me. Let's get started. Today's daf. The bottom, Zion Amud Beis, we're going to talk about today more about avodim, freed avodim, what they require. Can you do things, Mila and Tvila, Bal Korchom. We'll talk about Eishes Yefas Toar. We're going to talk about a woman who was captured during the war, a war with non-Jews. You get to take her, and you get to take her as a wife for yourself. She's beautiful. You have to do certain things there. We'll discuss that today a little bit also. And of course, Dina Ben Sion, we'll finish up and tie the ribbons and tie the loose ends on my thesis about Geirus and about being a Jew. You're not going to want to miss this. And it's really worthwhile. So let's start. The bottom of Zion Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Echad, at 5 lines to the bottom, Echad ger ve'echad even meshuchra. The Brisa was talking about both of these people need the certain same halachas, need a tefillah. So what is this talking about? We think it even includes, meaning they both have to makabel all mitzvos. When you free an eved knaini, right? He has to makabel all mitzvos, just like a ger we learned yesterday. He has to makabel the mitzvos. From a new, a Brisa not like that. But more than ger, what would have meshukar and start kabel? Brisa says he doesn't have to makabel. Rav Sheish is lo kasha. Hara Shimon Lazar, Hara Rabbanan. It's two opinions, two tanoim. Shimon Lazar holds he doesn't need. Rabbanan holds he does. It's Tanya. Bachta Saviyah Ima is talking about, again, Eishes Yefas Toar. She's not Jewish at all. You want to make her Jewish in order to be able to marry her and live with this beautiful seductress. But when can you take her? When do you have to wait? You have to wait. The Torah says you have to wait 30 days. You have to make her hair grow long, cut her nails, or make her nails grow long. I'm sorry, not make her hair grow long. You shave her head. The Chassidim. And she cries for 30 days or more than 30 days. So when do you have to wait? But shlo kibla aleh. The Brisa says, kibla aleh. If she's makabel the mitzvahs right away, matbila, mutter b'miyot. You could even be told right away, even with her long hair, pretty long hair, and her nails that are not extremely long. Shimon Lazar Omer al pi shlo kibla aleh kova matbila shem shifus. Shimon Lazar has a way out. Even if you want to do it right away, even if she's not willing to makabel a mitzvahs, you could force her into the mikvah to make her a shivcha knainis. Then you can force her again and matovel her second time, or mashachar and mansavir her mutter b'miyad. The interesting shita. It seems the Torah says you have to make her disgusting. According to Shimon Lazar, I really don't. So you see, or Shimon Lazar is the one who holds that even when it comes to freeing an eved or freeing a shivcha, you don't have to. She doesn't have to makabel. The Rabbanan learn, like the first opinion, she has to makabel at least once. Amarova. My time with the Shimon Lazar. What's the reason Shimon Lazar? They'll call Eved Ish Miknas Kesef. This is a pasuk that's talking in Shmos. So at the Korban Pesach, actually. So the Gemara asks, Eved Ish or Eved Isha? there's only avodim that are men, not women. El eved ish tamal bal korcho, via tamal ben ish bal korcho. An eved who's a man, right? You could give him a milah against his will, right? But ben ish, the son of a man, the son of an eved, you can't. Sisir Shem Allah says you can give a milah to an eved, even bal korcha. Part of making him Jewish, right, is after you mashacher him, you do a tefillah and a milah, even if he's not makabel the mitzvah, so you could do it. Rabbanan, what do they do with this pasuk? Amar Ula, kishem shiyat hamal ben ish bal korcha, gachiyat hamal eved ish bal korcha. So you can't mal the son of an eved. You can't also, he's not related to. He's not your eved. So too, you can't mal an eved. What do you do with the pasuk? It says Shmuel has a shita that normally when you emancipate a slave, you have to write him a shtar. You have to write him a document that says I freed you. If you mafkir him, you make him more ownerless. I say I'm mafkir my eved. You don't have to write a shtar. He's free automatically. How do you do that? How do the Rabbanan know that? How does Shmuel know that? Shneimar kol eved ish miknas kev. Ish v'lo eved isha. Does that mean eved is a man, not eved is a woman? Of course, you could have a shivcha. El eved shigish lo rishus l'rabo alav karoi eved. He has to be eved of a man. Someone has to be. He has to be eved belonging to someone. Karoi eved. She'ein rishus l'rabo alav ein karoi eved. If he has no rishus, he has no dominion over him. He was mafkir and he made an ownerless. He's not even called an eved anymore. You don't need to get shichrus. Get shichrur. Maybe the Rabbanan only hold their shita by a fast Torah, which doesn't have to cover the mitzvahs, those shaycha by mitzvahs, where she was a complete idolatress before. She wasn't an Eved Knaini, at least was makabel the mitzvahs like a woman before you're mashacher them. Well, Eved the shaycha mitzvahs hakanami that you're about a modu. They would be moded to Rishon and Elazar. You don't have, when you finally mashacher him, you don't have to makabel the mitzvahs. If he's a ger, right, he becomes right away a Jewish person, or you buy an eved from an ovik kochavim, so then he has to makabel because you're making him an eved knaini. Halakech mi Yisrael, but if you buy an eved from Yisrael who already was tovel and had a milah and was makabel al mitzvahs in order to be an eved knaini, and Yisrael makabel. He doesn't have to be makabel the all mitzvahs mani. Who is this? You're a Shimon and Elazar. If you say this price Shimon and Elazar, Amar lokech min ovik kochavim nami Yisrael makabel. He would say even right. It's clear from his shita that even not just when you're mashacher the eved. We said before that by fast Torah, even he could be tovel her l'shem shifchos, and then we tovel her l'shem yadus with both bal korcha. He doesn't have to be makabel at all by an eved. That's Reb Shimon and Elazar shita. Elav Rabbanan, it must be Rabbanan. Shaman alokech min ovik kochavim tzarich l'kabel. Aval alokech min Yisrael tzarich l'kabel. If he's already an eved knaini and he's owned by another Jew, you don't have to be makabel mitzvos. Elakasha echad ger ve'echad eved meshachar. So what's going to be with the brisa we had on Mem Zayin and Beis, where it equates a ger and eved meshachar? Tanya hila inyan tevila. Tanya. They would answer that. That brisa is talking about Gabi tefillah. All the halachas of tefillah. Right, it is to be arba im son, and there's chatzitza that would apply both by an eved meshachar and by a ger. But the Rabbanan would agree to Reb Shimon ben Elazar that as long, and this is the halacha, as long as when he became an eved knaini, when he was purchased by a Jew, he was tovel and mal and makabel and mitzvahs to be an eved knaini, which is the equivalent of a Jewish woman. Then when you're mashacher him, he doesn't have to makabel mitzvahs again. Tana Rabbanan, but Gilcha. So now we were talking about Yefas Torah. Let's talk some more about Yefas Torah. Why don't we have this mitzvah nowadays? It'd be a good mitzvah, right? Tana Rabbanan, Gilchas Rosha Asta Sipornea, right? Before you take her, marry her, you have to shave her head, right? When Hasidim get married, right? So if the woman is Yefas Torah, if she's good looking, then you shave her head. If she's not good looking, then what do? They ask Hasidim this question. Do they shave the head of a woman who's not good looking also? Am I allowed to say this on camera? Yeah. Alright, I'm joking around. I actually had my one experience as a stand-up comedian. Um, I spoke I was the MC at my sister-in-law's recent marriage. Not recent, almost a year ago. She got married. Shabbos Sheva Brachos. I was the MC. I made some good cracks about her, about her chassan, about the marriage, about the family. I had a good time. Everyone was on the floor. My first experience as an MC. I mean, it's pretty good. And then it went a little south on Shabbos day during the day. I had my routine, whatever. And then I added one thing in about women. What percentage of Hasidic women really do shave their heads? You can't find this on Google. You try to Google it, you're not going to really get an answer for this. This is sort of secret knowledge. Now that I'm 40 years old, I just turned 40 April 22nd, my birthday on Friday. Shvius Shal Pesach. Now I'm 40 years old. I have Bina insights. Maybe I can figure this out now, but I'm still not really clear about this. What percentage of Hasidic ladies? A lot of different sects of Hasidim. What percentage actually shave their heads when they get married? I'm interested to know this. I mean, there's different reasons why they would shave their head. What percentage do? The point of this is because the Kala, my sister-in-law, and I often discuss this, and we had an argument. I say about 30%. She wants to say most of them shave their head, like 70%. So I was making a joke about it. I started making a joke about it. Before I even started making a joke, I just mentioned. And in regards to Hasidic ladies shaving their heads, once I mentioned those words, I didn't even get a chance to make the joke or whatever. I don't remember exactly the joke I was going to make. An uproar from the crowd, from the Kala, from numerous sister-in-laws. They quieted me down. A terrible thing, unbelievable that I would mention this. Chas v'sholom, to mention a joke about Hasidic ladies shaving their heads. There were some Hasidic ladies or the relatives. There was one Hasidic relative over there. I don't think she shaved her head. I was censored. I'm not too happy about being censored. I think it's free speech to talk about, say that ladies shave their heads. I mean, anyway, the Torah talks about it. The Torah talks about Yefas Torah. She shaves her head. So, so everyone agrees she shaves her head. What about cutting her nails? Relative says you have to cut her nails. Tagdil. She lets the nails grow long. Disgusting. It says the word making or doing by both of them. Malahalan havara, just like by her hair, it means everyone agrees it means to shave her head. Afkan havara here also means to take off her nails, to cut her nails. It says the word asiya. You're right in both places. Malahalan nivel, just like by the rosh, it's done in a way to make her unattractive. Afkan nivel here also would be a way to make her unattractive, which would be to grow her nails long. Ra'ila davar. How do you know Rebelezer is right? That means to take them off. Boshas ben Shaul Yar Likros HaMelech. Boshas, son of Shaul, went to greet Melech David. Loasa Ragla V'asa Sfamo. He didn't make his legs and he didn't make his mustache. Mayasiya Havar. Obviously, it means he didn't shave his mustache. He kept it long. Asiya means Loasa. Asa means to cut it off. Tanrabano Bachla Esavia Ve'esima. We're going to talk more about the Yefas Torah. She cries for her mother and father. Lezer Omer Tapa Menchem Beis. Lezer Omer Avia Mamish Ima Mamish. Literally, the pasuk just means she mourns the fact that she's distanced from her father and mother. She's now with another person. Akiva Omer Avia Ima Zuvavas Kochavim. Akiva said it refers to the fact that she's losing out on Goy, on being a Goya. She's becoming Jewish. Omer Le'ez Aviata. The Goyim say to wood, you're my father. Yerach Yamim, let's further discuss Fas Torah. It says she cries for a month of days. Yerach Shloshim Yom. Hanakama says it means 30 days. Literally, she has to cry for 30 days. You have to wait 90 days. Yerach Shloshim. Yerach means a moon. It means 30 days. So, Yamim Shloshim. Then it says Yerach Yamim. Yamim is also 30 days. But Achar Kain, it says the pasuk Shloshim. Add them together. 90 days. Maskul Ravina Emo Yerach Shloshim. Yamim Shloshim. Yerach means 30. Yamim also means 30. Achar Kain. Kihani, and Achar Kain means you add those 30 together, 60. So Achar Kain, you can tell just like the beginning of the pasuk at 60. So you have to add on 60, 120 days. Whereas as kasha, indeed, it is a little difficult. Tanar Rabbanan, Mekayim avodim she'inan malin. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. You're allowed she'inan mulim. You're allowed to keep avodim that are not mauled, right? When you buy an eved kanani, you're supposed to be tovel them and maul them, the man. If they're not mohol, could you keep them? Yishmael says you keep them. Omer ein mekayim. He says you can't keep them. I'm like Yishmael. Harei Omer avei nafesh ben amisecha. It says on Shabbos, right? The son of your shifcha should read. I'm like Belkeach eved. So it's talking about Shabbos, right? We're going to prove later on. This is talking about someone that wasn't mal, that didn't have a mila, the son who didn't have a mila. I'm relay, but Belkeach eved ben hashmashal zbik lamolo akasu b'dar Rakiva answers. No, it's talking about a unique case where he bought the eved kanani, or the mother and the child right before Ben Hashmaz, right before Shabbos. You didn't have a chance to do Mila, so therefore you can keep him the Shabbos. You can't do Mila on Shabbos, only for if it's the 8-day-old baby, then you can do it on Shabbos. The Chuli Alma, everyone agrees Mila is fine. Navish Ben Masecha Be'evid Arel. How do you know it's talking about an Evid who didn't have a Mila? My Mashma. How do you know that? The Sanya Vayinavish Ben Masecha. Be'evid Arel custom. It's talking about an Evid who didn't have a Mila. Atam Be'evid Arel in El Be'evid Mol. Maybe it's talking about a bris Mila. Jomer Lamanya Nuach Avdecha Masecha. The pasuk continues Kamocha. Later on, the pasuk says you also your avodim and your imals, your shivchas should have rest like you. Alright, Evid Mol Emor. What's the extra pasuk telling? That's talking about someone who had a Mila. And how many Makayim we navish ben Masecha Be'evid Arel must be talking about Ben Masecha is talking about an Evid who didn't have a Mila. Hager. The pasuk continues Ger Toshav. Right. Also on Shabbos, you have to let a ger toshav. Ger toshav is somebody who has a visa. Right. He comes to your country. He pledges not to eat nevela, or he pledges according to some shitas to keep the Zion mitzvahs, but he doesn't convert to Judaism. He also is part of your nation, and he keeps Shabbos. Maybe it's referring to a complete ger. The pasuk continues. The gercha that's in your gates. Already ger said that ger. What is the first word about ger talking about? Ger toshav. Fine, so that's the end of the brayso. Amar Yeshua ben Levi, Lakeach eved min oved kachavim l'ras alamul. Megal Yeshua ben Levi says you buy an eved from a non-Jew. He doesn't want to do a bris milah. Megal galimo adib is chodesh. You can wait 12 months to convince him to do a milah. Lo mal chozer mochel oved kachavim. If he doesn't want to do a milah at the end of 12 months, then you sell him to another non-Jew. Amrur baran kamei derav papa. Come on, who does Yeshua ben Levi hold like? Lo Rabbi Akiva. It must be not like Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva. If it's Rabbi Akiva, Hamar in Makayim, Rabbi Akiva says you never keep an Eved who's not Mohol. Amar le Rav Papa, I feel the Rabbi Akiva. You can even say it is Rabbi Akiva. Right? Rabbi Akiva is only talking about where he never intended to do a Milah. When you bought him, he said, I'm never doing a Milah. I like the Pascal Milsa Pascha. But here in this case, where Rishon was talking about, he agreed to do a Milah originally, and then he backed out of his words. So therefore, since he backed out of his words, so therefore you have 12 months to convince him. Once 12 months elapsed, then you have to sell him. I said this shmua, this teaching from Rav Zvid. When we answered the brisa to say Rabbi Akiva was talking about a specific eved that didn't do a milah, was talking about you got him right before Shabbos, didn't have a chance to do a milah. He could have answered this, right? Rabbi Akiva agrees that if he agreed to do a milah, you could even wait 12 months. So why didn't he answer that? The answer is time. He could have answered that. He said one of two reasons. Shalach Ravin Mishmei de Rabbi Eli. Ravin said in the name of Rabbi Eli, B'chol Rabosai Amruli Mishmo Ezo Eved Arel. What's considered Eved Arel? Shemot Lekaim. Well, you're allowed to Mekaim. Mizesh Lacho Rabo Menashalo Lamolo. An Eved you purchased on condition not to give him a milah. If you purchase him on the condition not to do a milah, you can keep him. Amru Baruch Pei Rav Papa. Come on, the Rabbanan said of her Papa must be the local Rabbi Akiva. There, Rabbi Akiva Amar Ein Mekaim. Rabbi Akiva says you can't keep an Eved Kain if he doesn't have a milah. Rav Papa says no. If you tell Rav Akiva, Rabbi Akiva would agree in this case. He only said what he said. That you can't keep an Eved who's not mohol. Well, he didn't make it tonight. He didn't make a condition. Once when you bought him, you made a condition that he doesn't need a milah. So even Rav Akiva would agree you can keep him without a milah. Amar Rav Kahan, Rishal Shmaisa Kamei Rav Ziv Naharda. Again, Rav Kahan said, I said this in front of Ziv Naharda. Amar Li. Why didn't he answer him this answer? We're talking about where he made it tonight, that he's not going to do milah, and that's the Rabbi Akiva is talking about why you can keep him as an Eved Kanani. Why did he say he's talking about bought him right before Shabbos? He didn't have a chance to do a milah. He could have answered the other thing we said where he agreed to a milah, then he backed out of his words. There were actually two or three reasons, but he only took one of them He could have answered the other ones also. All these rabbis sat on the porch of Yitzchak. There was one city in Eretz Yisrael, the Avodim, they were purchased by Jews. They didn't want to bris milah. They kept them for 12 months to convince them to bris milah. When they couldn't convince them, they sold them to the non-Jews. Come on, who is this brayso like? Like the Bryce we said before, which could be attributed both according to Rabbi Akiva and according to the other opinion. Rishon Elazar Omer, Ein Mashon Eretz Yisrael. Rishon Elazar, who said actually was the one before who said that you could keep him. If it's in Eretz Yisrael, you can't keep him. Ein Mashon Eretz Yisrael, but they have Satiros, because if he's not Jewish, so he has a din of a zav. The Rabbanim goes there, the din of a zav. Someone who's telling makes things tamei when he touches them or he carries them. So you're gonna lose the taros. Therefore, in Eretz Yisrael, where we're more makbid on tumah and tara, and chutz la'aretz, everything's tamei. And Eretz Yisrael, where there's taros, it used to be taros. Therefore, you can't keep them. And certainly, a city next to the border between Jews and Goyim, you can't keep it all. He can tell the secrets. He's going to be a spy. He's going to tell the secrets to the non-Jews on the other side of the border, and it's going to be easier to capture Eretz Yisrael. A new topic. Why are Gerim in this day? Is there a lot of afflictions happen to them, bad things happen, and they suffer a lot? Because when they were Goyim, they weren't Mekayim Sheva Mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi Omer a different reason. Gerish is Gary Gadol Shel Adami. Right, when he converts, he's like a newborn baby. We don't reckon what happened before while he was a goy. Why? The fact is that they are afflicted, they're distressed. I mean, certainly they're not really distressed, they're afflicted. It just means they have a history. When you hear that someone's a ger, you immediately look at him askance, you look at him a little different. You say, oh, he's a ger, he was formerly non-Jew. They get treated a little differently. It's a taboo. That's the way it is. He says the reason is because they're not careful in the mitzvahs. They don't know all the practical details in the mitzvahs. A third reason, because they do the mitzvahs out of fear and out of love. Because obviously they were around a certain number of years before they decided to Megai. Why were they Megai right away? That's their punishment. What's the pasuk? That you know they're supposed to be Megai right away. That Boaz said to Rus, he said to her that you should get a full schar, right? Because that you came right away. When you heard about the Jewish nation, you came right away. You didn't delay, and therefore you have a full schar, and you shouldn't be afflicted even in this world. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about we're going to quantify and qualify the exact nature of Gerus. Not going to want to miss it. See you then. Bye.